Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today by supporting the Going In Raw Patreon. You can enjoy access to the live taping of the show, exclusive merchandise, and patron-only episodes, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today. Click the link in the description. Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome to Going In Raw, the Dirt Sheet. It's the only pro wrestling news program you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Also available on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, Google Play, SoundCloud.com/Steven Larson. Although I believe that you did not put that, you're responsible for output of the Dirt Sheet. You did not put it up on SoundCloud.
I don't have the login information for the SoundCloud account.
I can send you login.
You never send it to me.
I can send you login.
All right, please do so.
No problem doing that.
Please do
now
so.
available at soundcloud.com/Steven Larson.
Yes.
We are on TNA Watch 2016. Larson, this is a fascinating story. It's taking place in real time. We're filming this on Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
So by the time this goes live Friday morning, something has to happen.
Well, something might happen. So what you're watching now, Friday morning or early Friday afternoon, hopefully is still accurate.
Yeah,
that's my hope. I don't want to wake up tomorrow morning.
For our sake, we want TNA to...
I don't want to wake up tomorrow morning and see that the story has completely shifted into another direction, like someone bought him or something. So as of right now, Thursday, late Thursday afternoon, Pacific time, this is the latest information.
Yes.
And we're hoping it stays this way till tomorrow morning.
Will we Skype each other if some breaking shit happens tonight?
Tonight?
Like, our cutoff is probably, 8 o'clock? 9 o'clock tonight?
Yeah.
We could Skype each other?
Yeah, probably.
Because otherwise, this son of a bitch goes up at 6 in the morning.
Correct.
If anything hasn't happened by 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. tonight, I would think, and that's 11 p.m. New York time.
Yeah.
I would think nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, I would think that would be correct.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, let's run this down, because we have a whole timeline of
Yeah,
things
we do. I think we first heard Tuesday morning, I believe, that... TNA was in some, we've known TNA has been in some financial troubles for a very long time.
Very long time.
I think it was about a week or so ago that there was reports, the New York Post had a report about Billy Corgan trying to buy TNA.
Correct.
And they said in that article that rumors were going around that WWE had made a bid to buy TNA.
It was a standing bid. So if the company was in danger of falling off the map, then WWE would swoop in and purchase it.
Correct.
Now, we both pretty much figured WWE is basically creating their own pro wrestling history library. They're like the Library of Congress for wrestling.
Yeah.
And so we figured this would most likely be for their library and maybe some talents that they like. I would speculate, EC3 probably. I wonder if they'd go after Lashley, because the TNA has a they're more open to Lashley going to the MMA thing.
Yeah.
I think is important to him, even though Lashley coming in would be great.
Yeah.
I love Lashley. And if you look at everything that they've done with former TNA talent there in NXT, it's all been...
Oh, great.
Beautiful. Magnifique.
Yeah, and we'll get to that later in this episode.
I don't say that very often. Magnifique.
Okay.
I like that word.
Okay.
It's a French word for magnificent.
I'm aware of that.
Continue, please.
So anyways, Wrestling Observer and PWInsider.com reported on Tuesday that WWE was back in the mix to acquire TNA.
Hey-oh.
And then Dave Meltzer at the Wrestling Observer reported that Billy Corgan was trying to work out a deal to buy TNA, and that the sale, or some sort of sale, would have to happen by Friday to assure funding for their Bound for Glory pay-per-view, which happened this Sunday.
This Sunday, yeah.
And then there's a round of Impact tapings happening right afterwards.
Right.
So they needed money, an influx of capital to have the shows happen.
Right.
Otherwise, they might not happen.
Yes.
Next day, Wednesday, WrestleZone, in an exclusive report, reported that Billy Corgan, in his attempts to buy TNA, was actually putting up his own money.
Right.
But even with Billy Corgan's purchase of TNA,
that sweet Smashing Pumpkins royalties money,
it wouldn't solve all of TNA's financial issues.
Yeah.
Because they got a lot of debt.
Yeah.
Today, Thursday.
I
know, we need some...
we need some stingers.
We do.
Doom.
Thursday. This morning, again, Wrestling Observer.
Top-notch reporting.
They reported that Dixie Carter is holding up the sale. She owns 70% of the company right now, and the Observer noted that if WWE bought the company, they would not be taking on any of TNA's debt.
Right.
They would only be purchasing the tape library and the contracts for some of their talent.
Right. So let's say, for example, let's say TNA was up for $1 million. Let's just say $1 million. Okay. And this is fantasy money. I have no idea how much it's worth, but WCW apparently was only like $4 million.
Yeah.
So let's say TNA is up for $1 million and Dixie and the company is in debt for $1 million. So basically WWE would give that $1 million over to Dixie would give to Dixie and then whoever owns the rest of the 30%. And then they would then have to use that $1 million to pay off their debt. And WWE would be taken, so they would get nothing. So we don't know. We have no idea how much their debt is. We have no idea how much they're trying to sell the company for. So all of that is like we'll find out eventually, probably.
Yeah. Another thing the Observer noted was that if TNA can't put together the funds for this weekend's pay-per-view, Bound for Glory, and the following round of TV tapings, which they said was around $600,000,
right.
That it could both events could be canceled.
Yeah.
And it could put the promotion itself in jeopardy.
Yeah. The interesting side note to that as well is Meltzer himself said that Dixie Carter is one of the most clueless people he's ever met or known of, which is really interesting because he, usually there's sometimes some snark in Wrestling Observer, but by and large he calls it down the line.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people bitch about his but I think it's top-notch stuff that he does. I mean, shit. Half the dirt sheets out there, when they're reporting, they're just re-reporting what Wrestling Observer's newsletter has already said. So keep that in mind. But this is all really interesting stuff. Billy Corgan then went on Dan Le Batard's show this morning, and confirmed, there is a, quote, gunfight over who will get majority control of TNA. So there's all sorts of machinations going on here. He confirmed that Vince does want to buy the company, and he said that there are different visions as to how TNA should operate, both creatively and financially.
Yeah, he also noted that televised wrestling, is not a high revenue enterprise. So especially these days, it's not generating a lot of revenue.
Well, if you look at when the WWE was renegotiating their TV contracts, there was all sorts of words coming out. There are all sorts of word coming out that they didn't get the deal they thought they were going to get.
Yeah.
They didn't get what they had hoped to get.
Well, I think that speaks to the watching habits of people in general. People don't watch content live like they used to.
Yeah.
A lot of people will DVR it. A lot of people have gotten rid of cable.
Yeah.
They'll watch on Hulu or
there was even a report
other outlets
a couple days ago that NFL's ratings aren't what they had hoped it was going to be. The NFL.
Yeah.
So even as a couple short years ago, there was all these reports about I remember it was when the WWE was sort of entering into contract negotiations and taking offers from all sorts of different places, that the thought was, I think largely because of NFL's huge revenue, that live events would be a premium in this day of Netflix shows, of DVRs, of all sorts of stuff. But that might not be the case. The water cooler sort of idea behind live programming isn't really what people think it is.
I know it's getting a little bit off track, but another reason that might explain the NFL's declining ratings is Red Zone. People love Red Zone.
Yeah, they do.
And I don't think they show commercials on Red Zone, do they?
I don't know.
I like watching games, so I don't really watch Red Zone.
Yeah.
But it sounds neat.
I mainly have NFL on sort of in the background these days. It's like I honestly can't afford the time. Like between, the fact that I'd rather hang out with my family than watch football. I'd rather honestly work on what we're doing here than watch football. So I love to have it on in the background. I check my fantasy stuff. And that's kind of my experience these days.
Yeah.
Like I'll make an exception, like, maybe when the playoffs roll around, but I sort of, it's in the background for me these days.
Yeah.
So I know that I'm not in the majority of NFL fans how they like to watch it, but I think you're right. I think there's a million different ways. Well, they had it on Twitter. I was watching it on Twitter. I was watching it on my phone the other day.
Yeah.
And there's a million different ways to watch the NFL these days. There's a million different ways to watch. I'm sorry, but I run out. I'm live tweeting at Real Going in Raw or Smack. Well, SmackDown we usually watch together because we're still working, but Raw, I'll run out and go get some dinner.
Yeah.
And I'll just sit there and look at WWE's Twitter feed.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. It keeps you engaged
Yes.
in the product.
Yes.
It keeps you up to speed, but something is going to give, and that something is TV ratings.
Yep.
So if that's the barometer for revenue, then yeah, that's going to be suffering.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
On our SmackDown recap, I speculated about how Dolph Ziggler might end up on TNA if WWE to buy it.
Yeah.
Not going to happen, but I thought it was fun.
Oh yeah, that was a great idea.
But I came up with another idea of how this whole situation could be worked out.
Okay.
And it'd be, I think, to the benefit of all parties involved.
Let's hear it.
I told you a kind of an abbreviated version about it before we
yeah.
started. Essentially, this is what happens. Remember back in the mid-'90s when Vince would give Heyman money for ECW?
Yes, correct.
That happened, right? That's not my imagination.
No, that actually happened. Yeah.
And in exchange, generally, Vince would send talent to ECW to kind of give him some seasoning, develop character, and also he would have ECW talents come on and be on Raw.
He was sort of formulating a bit of a farm system for WWF and evidently WCW.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like you said, but you also mentioned off camera, Vince seemed to be a mark for the health of the industry. He seemed to just really love wrestling in general.
Yeah.
And I think there was a little bit of, I want to say naivete there, maybe, but like he had to, you had to think that, did Vince think that there was some, look, nobody ever thought ECW was going to compete in terms of like, ECW is never going to be the number 2 promotion. They're never going to, but the fact that ECW ended up farming so much of WCW's talent, and granted, none of that talent was, none of the talent that came from ECW to WCW ended up being deal breakers in terms of WCW, because WCW got by on Goldberg, which is homegrown, Hogan, Hall, Nash, the NWO. That was all stuff. That was all people that came from WWE.
Well, if you're talking about the later talent acquisitions by WCW, like the first round was Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko.
Right.
They got all those guys from ECW back in 96, 95.
But even they weren't, what's the word I'm looking for? They weren't the guys that won those 86 weeks in a row or 84 weeks in a row. It wasn't as much as we love Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit and all them, it was Hogan. It was the NWO and Goldberg essentially that really was winning those 84 weeks for WCW. So it's not like, but still, those were amazing talents that were going to WCW from ECW, who was being funded in part by Vince McMahon. So I get your point. So continue.
Anyways, so maybe this can be the situation. Vince goes to Dixie Carter, goes to Billy Corgan, and Vince says, all right, I will pay you what you need to be viable right now.
Yeah.
Corgan can buy TNA and get Dixie Carter out of the situation. In exchange for Vince's investment, he gets unfettered access to TNA's library, which I think is what he really wants.
Yeah, I think so too.
To put on the network.
Yeah.
And maybe they can orchestrate some crossover, some talent swap, something like that.
Yeah.
But if keeping TNA around as a somewhat of a separate entity, I think would be good for the business. So, I mean, apart from the WWE having competition in TNA, I don't see anybody losing in that scenario.
Well, I think what you're speaking to could work. I would be.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But here's the thing: if the WWE, like I said, they're trying to be basically the Library of Congress with their collection on the network. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they found a way to just start licensing. I mean, I know it would and wouldn't surprise me, because I know the WWE likes to own their stuff. They don't want to own the tape libraries. They want to get them and see what's in them. So it wouldn't surprise me if they went to TNA and said, look, like you said, we'll give you X number of dollars so you can license your tape library to us so we can have it on the network, and then pay you royalties off that in some manner.
Yeah.
To kick in to help with your situation. Because it all kind of depends on, is the WWE threatened in the slightest by even the potential of TNA? And if they're not, if what you're saying is if they're not, then there's no reason not to do this.
Yeah.
Other than you're promoting and you're promoting the competition, but do you consider them the competition?
Also, as TNA grows, WWE would benefit from their growth because people would want to say, "Oh, I want to learn more about TNA. Where can I find their past matches?" Oh, on the WWE network.
Right, exactly. And then, of course, that sort of you would wonder. Well, then, does the WWE want some measure? They're putting money into this. Are they going to ask for some measure of control? Somebody fails out miserably in a wellness policy or does something to royally piss off the WWE, then TNA has to worry. Well, bringing that guy over, is that gonna hurt? And then you have the same issue with, well, TNA is a viable place for somebody to go make money.
Yeah.
And that would be the worst case. Honestly, that'd be the worst case scenario. As much as I'd love to see a TNA library somewhere, because right now you have to go on like these grainy videos on Daily Motion or YouTube or whatever to find old TNA stuff. As much as I would love to see high quality old school TNA, I mean, I know they've got their own. You can like buy old episodes of The Asylum. I don't know if I can do that. As much as I would love to see that old stuff on the network, I'd much rather see a viable place for Matt Hardy to live out all of his creative freedoms.
I agree.
For Cody Rhodes to go and continue to make a living, for Damian Sandow, et cetera, et cetera. I would much rather see Billy Corgan buy this thing, and maybe his vision is the right vision. And maybe that's the way to do it. I don't know. I mean, I really hope that I mean, maybe I would love for the WWE to cut a deal with New Japan and Ring of Honor and say, hey, we want to host your tape library because you guys aren't doing it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Go to Ring of Honor and buy their DVDs?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to buy DVDs anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially not at those prices.
Yeah.
So I know I've been thinking about investing in Ring of Honor's monthly subscription service because you can get their TNA show or their TV shows. You can get discounts off their pay-per-views and stuff like that. And I think discounts off merch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about doing that because it seems like a good deal. I'm already subscribing to New Japan World, and I haven't seen how far back in New Japan's history I can go. I just love the idea that I can pay $9.99 a month for the WWE Network and go and look at anything I want to wrestling related. They have so much stuff up there.
I know.
And it would be great to be able to see Ring of Honor New Japan there. But I don't know. It's probably, like you said, my thing is, it's probably never going to happen. But I think the older Vince gets and the more of a stranglehold, I want to say, Triple H and Stephanie have on the company, the more likely it would be. They seem more willing to depart with the ways of the old in terms of their talent base now. I mean, Kota Ibushi, we're going to talk about this. Kota Ibushi's back in the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Yep.
So he's not part of the family, but he's not out of the family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, in a perfect world, TNA would be a solvent company. That would be, a place where people can go make a living, and they'd be paying all their wrestlers on time. And in that perfect world, their tape library would be over on the WWE Network. It'd be really interesting if the WWE Network, still owned by the WWE, started shifting to be more of a general wrestling
network. I know.
Network,
a Netflix for wrestling,
where they can have live Ring of Honor. So, well, all that stuff would be live for a cut. Whether that'll happen, whether they've got probably around 1.5 to 2 million subs now. What happens when they're up to 10 million subs and they're making all that money and they can afford to be cutting deals and bringing people in that way? That would be huge.
That'd be awesome.
5 to 10 years from now, we might see that.
Yeah. So, Steve,
my girl
Paige today on Twitter posted that she might need surgery on her neck.
Puppy's Paige. Alberto El Patron's girl, Paige. Still together. But now she needs surgery. She came back to Twitter after the hubbub of her quitting. Did she not quit? Did she want to quit?
Yeah.
No, she's back. So anyway, I've been quiet on Twitter lately, and I met with this fancy doctor, and he's a lovely person. He gave me 2 great options for surgery. Neck surgery is no joke. It's probably going to be a while before we see Paige back in the WWE.
I would think at least 6 months.
I would think that's at least. At the very least.
At a minimum.
How long was Nikki Bella out when she got neck surgery?
I want to say 8 months.
Yeah.
Depending on the nature of her injury, though.
No idea what it is.
If she has a herniated disc, she's going to be out a while.
Yeah. She's a lot of ring time on that young body of hers. So we wish her all the best.
Yes.
So yeah, it's gonna be a while since I see Paige. So no more talk of Paige being that person you can insert into various programs there on Raw. Steve.
Yeah, it's going to be a little while.
It's going to be a while.
There was an episode of NXT last night.
Indeed, there was.
It was good.
It was a really good episode.
The episode opened with Regal in the ring in an empty arena.
Talking about the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
The return of the Dusty Rhodes
Tag Team Classic.
Yeah. And then throughout today, Thursday, as well as last night,
we've been announcing tag teams announcements made via Twitter today. We've been announcing tag teams. Hideo Itami and Kota Ibushi.
That's a great team.
It's a great team. Tino Sabatelli on the other end of that spectrum. Tino Sabatelli, best known as being the guy who it seems to have a problem breaking through on breaking ground, and a fellow named Riddick Moss.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know. I looked him up on the Twitters, and he says NXT's resident bad boy or something like that, resident badass, something like that. I don't know him from the janitor at Full Sail Arena, man. I don't know. I know Tino Sabatelli is simply because I watch Breaking Ground, which is a great show.
It is.
Anyways, they're going to be in there. They're a long shot. Bobby Roode announced he came out and offered his services. He says, unfortunately, I've not made a lot of friends here in my time at NXT. He's great.
He's fantastic.
After a Ty Dillinger win, Bobby Roode came out and said, Ty, that was an impressive win.
I know. So good.
So good. So Bobby Roode and the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger.
Perfectly glorious.
Perfectly glorious. Yeah, they're going to be a tag team.
Also on NXT,
a couple of fellas named Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are going to be tag teaming.
Yep. Well, they have been for a year since the last year's tournament.
They, in my opinion,
they're going to be in the tournament.
They're the favorites.
You think so?
They're the favorites in my book. They're the favorites. Are you kidding me? See how hot that match was with the Revival?
No, I know. We were there.
We were there.
We were there.
They were amazing.
Also announced last night, Andrade Cien Almas and Cedric Alexander are forming a team.
Yeah.
And then also announced last night, the Revival.
They're going to be in there mixing it up. I think, look, this isn't for their tag championships. That's why Gargano and Ciampa are going to win this thing in the finals against the Revival. That's my early call on this particular match.
I can see that happening. Which team excites you the most, though?
Oh, Kota Ibushi and Hideo. I'm all on board the Hideo Itami. Now that I've seen what he can do, he's shaking that ring rust off. He was in action last night.
Yeah.
Against who?
Lince Dorado.
Good match.
Yep.
That was a good match. And of course, Austin Aries comes out with some shenanigans. Yeah.
Austin Aries is hilarious.
I love Austin Aries. He's great. Was there a formal winner in that match?
Yeah.
Itami won, right? Okay, yeah.
He hit the GTS.
All right. I saw I sort of turned away at the very end. I figured he won. I look back and I see Austin Aries there mixing it up.
Yeah.
I love it.
Did you see Hideo's interview?
I saw a little bit of it, yeah.
I love it when he calls Austin Aries a baby.
I know. It's my favorite thing.
It's so funny.
I know. He's a baby.
I want to talk about Samoa Joe and how
awesome great he is.
He might be my favorite NXT talent right now.
We discovered who Giant Usher is.
Oh,
and
yeah.
in fact,
he
comes in a tandem.
Yeah.
There are two Giant Ushers on NXT.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So the Ely brothers.
Yeah, Usher Ely and Usher Ely
are scheduled to have a match against the Revival.
Yeah.
As the Revival are walking out to the ring, Samoa Joe just walks right past them. Beats up the Ely brothers.
Destroys twin Giant Ushers.
And gives a great promo. Samoa Joe is the best.
Oh, he's the base. He's Regal. This is the result
of your indecision.
Oh,
he's so good.
He's so good, man. He's like, he looks more fit too. Like, I mean, as great as he is, he's just getting greater.
You know what I love about Samoa Joe? Maybe the most.
What's that?
Is, when a lot of wrestlers, especially when they give promos, they want to be intense.
Yeah.
They just yell.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
He doesn't need
He's
to.
slow. He talks slower.
Yeah.
And with more purpose.
He's terrifying.
And he's got like the seething intensity that I
am
so
not
good.
a man of virtue. Oh, God.
I'm not a virtuous man.
Yeah.
He's got a very melodic quality to his voice.
He sounds like it's melodic. Yeah, that's a great word for it. Because I'm thinking when I hear virtuous, I think Sam Jackson's many great speeches in Pulp Fiction, and I think Samoa Joe. Obviously, they don't sound the same, but in terms of their intensity and how they can say a lot, but not at a high decibel volume. Oh, I love Samoa Joe. He's
so
great.
good. He's so good.
Give me Shinsuke Nakamura or give me my championship back. Make a choice. I love it.
So good.
Mandy Rose versus Ember Moon. I was actually kind of impressed with Mandy
I
Rose.
was too.
So I was watching very intently in this match.
Me too. I was expecting another Eva Marie.
She looks like a certain thing. She looks like an Eva Marie Part 2, but in gold instead of red. But she held her own with Ember Moon. Yeah. I was actually very impressed.
Yeah, I was too.
Ember Moon has that finisher that there's no better finisher in the business right now than that top rope spinning. So they haven't given a name yet.
I know.
That top rope spinning stunner.
Yeah. It's so good.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We had another Gargano Ciampa interview. Yeah. I didn't hear what they said in this.
That's when they were announcing their participation in the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
I want their match if this ends up being, like I say, Gargano Ciampa Revival final for the Dusty Rhodes Classic. I want it to be in a parking lot.
Okay.
I want it to be a parking lot brawl.
Okay.
Those Authors of Pain. Terrifying. They're terrifying, Larson. They work so stiff.
I know.
They took on Jesus Yurnet and Jonathan Cruz.
Yeah.
I don't know who they are, but they got murdered by the Authors of Pain. Chances are they're 6 feet deep right now because they got absolutely killed and then Paul Ellering came in there and gave a very eloquent promo.
Yeah.
Few words, but very effective.
Yep.
Paul Ellering is. Yeah. Let's see here. Blake and Murphy decided they're all about that Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, they wanted to be in it, but they're not on the official list of teams. I mean, I guess they're still dealing with some infighting.
Yeah, exactly.
To say the least.
I'm pretty sure Blake and to me, I think I've determined that their gimmick. Blake is the alternative universe version of Murphy.
Okay.
Like if one of them was born
that.
American and the other was born Australian, because I think one of them is Australian, right? Yeah. And I still don't know what their other names are. Blake and Murphy. I don't know.
It's
John Blake,
Buddy Murphy,
Bill Murphy,
and Wesley Blake.
I wish it was Bill Murphy. Liv Morgan got her ass handed to her by Asuka. She got absolutely murdered.
Yep. That match lasted, 90 seconds?
If that, yeah. It was funny, too, when they did replay, Corey Graves said, I think we have the time to see that match in its entirety again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corey Graves was great last night.
Oh, he was on fire. Definitely on fire.
And again, Hideo Itami took on Lince Dorado. Good match.
Yeah, it was a good match. Fun match. I like Hideo Itami. I just like that somebody's got I like that the legit owner of the Go to Sleep is in the WWE.
Yep. We have some time to answer some questions. Would you like to answer questions?
Yeah, we've been doing. So here's the deal: we've been doing our SmackDown thing. We've been pulling long Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So we've been doing our SmackDown podcast basically right after SmackDown Live.
Yeah.
So it doesn't give everybody in our Patreon group friendos. We got a Patreon thread. Doesn't give everybody a chance to get their questions in because sometimes they'll see it a little bit later.
Yeah.
So we took some of those questions.
Yeah, a handful of them.
We're gonna answer them now.
Yeah.
We're gonna answer them now.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The mobile sensation.
Yeah.
Hey, friendo.
Hey. Who's he talking about? You or me?
I don't know.
Does he think that we're some variation on the hype, bro?
Maybe. Well, someone said that on Twitter that I was the Mojo Rawley.
That's right. And then I said everything that I hate about myself manifests itself in you.
I didn't see that.
That's what I said. I tweeted that out. That was a joke. That's what's called a joke, though. There are some things I love about you.
Name one.
Your beard.
That's the easy
I wish
answer.
I could do a beard.
That's the easy
wish
answer.
I could do a really good beard like that.
Give me an answer that actually takes some thought.
Your attention to detail.
Okay, that's a good answer.
Good. Pulled that one out of my ass. Thank God that worked. Don't you love that when that happens with the wife? When she says something you don't know what to say, but you throw something out there and it works?
Yeah, no.
Knock on wood. Listen to my conversation.
All right, anyway, the mobile sensation.
Yeah.
It's your first Patreon all the way from Barbados.
Wow.
Hi.
Hey. Oh, by the way, we hit our $3,000 mark on the Patreon. Thanks to a couple pages. We had a flurry of activity the other night. You can push us over to the 3,000 mark.
We need a celebration.
We need a celebration of somewhere. We need to redo our goals.
We do.
Because basically, we're acting as if we've met all our goals.
Pretty much.
Yeah, like all that shit that we said we were going to do.
We're pretty much doing it
already.
already.
Pretty much doing it already. So we need some new fun goals. Like maybe it's like 10,000. we'll do a championship belt. We'll have a championship belt made, a Friendo belt.
Okay.
With a big F on it.
I have an idea for our celebration for right now.
Okay.
You have something over there sitting on your couch that you want to give away.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Let's give that away.
Yeah, let's give it away.
We'll get to this question eventually, I promise.
Mobile Sensation will answer your sensational question.
I'll read it now. The hardcore belt was one of my favorite titles of all time, mainly because of the 24/7 constant title defense. 1. Would you think the hardcore title could work in this era? And 2, who was your favorite hardcore champion? P.S. Drink it in. Man. Answer this question, then we can discuss the rules for this giveaway.
Who's your favorite hardcore champion?
Raven, 27-time hardcore champion.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I'd probably say Raven as well. I love Raven.
Raven's
great.
fantastic.
He's amazing.
Could the hardcore title work in this era?
No, God, no.
I think that we've talked about this before. That'd be fun if they had a network title that can be defended all the time.
I like that aspect
and
of it.
they break into network programming for
Oh,
title
I love
defenses.
that aspect of it. I
That'd
love
be
it.
great.
And because you see that now with the DDT Pro Heavy Metal belt. You see that on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's no different. They could do the same thing,
Yep.
Goofing around with it like that, because
Yep.
a lot of these guys travel together. So I think that could definitely work. So that idea, but the hardcore aspect would have to go.
Yeah.
And we've also talked about like a pure wrestling belt. Like
Yes.
that could have been debuted for Sheamus and Cesaro. Like
Yes.
who's the best wrestler?
Yes, the best belt.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, now that we've reached the $3,000 mark, I got this shirt here from ProWrestlingTees.com. My favorite guy who's probably not in the WWE right now, or I know he's not in the WWE right now. My favorite guy, not in the WWE right now, not named Briscoe, is Kenny Omega. And I got this extra large shirt. The problem is I didn't get the soft one, and I need the soft one because this is a little tough. It's a little tough. But it's an extra large. Somebody out there wants it. What are we going to do to give it away? I'm thinking fan art.
That was my first thought too.
Yeah.
But what should the art be of?
On our channel, we did a video of our first create a character in WWE 2K17. We did it in the My Career mode. His name is, of course, Son of Power Lunch.
Yes.
He's a glistening god of veins and muscle, and he's amazing. So for our new stand-up set, which I'm slowly compiling pieces of and getting ideas for, I'd like a piece of Son of Power Lunch fan art.
Okay.
That's what I want.
Okay.
You can post it to our Twitter. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Everybody who participates will get a participatory postcard, one of our thank you postcards. The best one will win the shirt.
Okay.
You get the shirt.
Sounds good to me.
Put on our Twitter at Real Going In Raw.
Okay.
At Real Going In Raw.
Yeah.
Post it there. You can check out the video at our channel, youtube.com/Stephen Larson. Probably where you're watching this, unless you're listening to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways.
All right. Good idea.
Yeah.
Next question. Western States Heritage Champion Matthew.
We'll be the judges of what we like best.
Yeah. Western States Heritage Champion Matthew E. Williams Esquire. Hey, friendos. New patron here.
I love that he went
Yeah.
with the Western States Heritage
Great
Championship.
idea.
You know, some dude in Detroit. Number one, did you know that only 2 people ever held that title?
Oh, really?
It was because it was given to Larry Zbyszko in like 89. And then the only other person to have it was I forget now.
Save it for
Wyndham. I think it was Wyndham.
Okay. I was
I'm
gonna say,
pretty sure it was
save
Wyndham.
it. Save it.
That's
for,
the most Barry Wyndham belt there's
Save
ever
it
been.
for a future kayfabe corner list.
Yeah, I know, right?
Anyways, his question is, do you think giving talent like Cody Rhodes, Alberto Del Rio, Damian Sandow, and according to rumors, Dolph, their walking papers, will actually allow them to come back as bigger draws? Essentially, that this parting of ways helps the company despite how it looks.
Okay, so traditionally, a wrestling return is big business.
Yes.
But whether or not that person has any staying power, I mean, okay, you can think of Alberto Del Rio coming back when he beat John Cena for the U.S. title. I forget.
That was
I want to say the Rumble.
No, it was before that.
It was before that?
Yeah.
Okay, Survivor
It
Series?
was. No, it's before that.
Okay.
I want to say it was Money in the Bank.
That sounds like it could be right. Anyways, wherever it was, he came back. That heat dies down pretty quickly if you don't have something to stay hot with.
What's the pay-per-view after SummerSlam?
Well, we would just Backlash. It was this year, anyways.
No, but that's new.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. When Alberto
Whatever
Del
that
Rio
one is.
came
Maybe
back,
it was that one.
when he came back, You know, it was really, really soon that nobody gave a shit anymore. Look, when somebody comes back, it's really hard to maintain that momentum. Oh, man, you're killing me right now.
Or was it Hell in the Cell?
You're absolutely killing me right now.
Because Cena and Rollins had the match. At SummerSlam, Rollins won the U.S. title off Cena. And then the next pay-per-view, which would be September, Cena got it back. And then the next pay-per-view would be in October, which is when Alberto won it. So whatever the October pay-per-view in 2015, I think that's it. That'd be Hell in the Cell.
Yeah, October 2015.
Okay. There. Is that correct?
This stupid... Oh, yeah. Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell. It was Hell in a Cell.
See, if I just think it out, it's good.
I know you just wasted like 3 minutes of everybody's time. Somebody in Detroit owns the Western Heritage.
Oh, really?
States.
Okay, that's what you're getting at.
No, somebody bought it. Yeah, I want to know how much they bought it for.
Oh, yeah.
Western States Heritage title. Yeah, so when somebody comes back, to answer Matthew E. Williams Esquire's question, when somebody comes back, it's really hard for them to maintain momentum.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were hot before they left, they'll be hot when they come back.
Yeah, but maintaining that momentum is the
I'm trying
difficult aspect.
I'm trying to think of somebody who left at a relatively high mark in their career and then came back even bigger. And I know I'm thinking of somebody.
Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar is a very good example of that. Brock Lesnar is a very good example of that. He was already a big main eventer. Name somebody who left at maybe the Intercontinental U.S. title sort of situation and then came back and main evented and did all sorts of great things.
I'd have to think about that.
I'd have to really think about that one.
Anyways.
Yeah, I can't really be honest.
Let me think about it.
Yeah, okay.
Next question, Dan Boss. So you've commented on how you don't like how Bo Dallas's tights still say Outcast on them. Was I the only one that noticed it on Heath Slater's gear on SmackDown? I agree with you that it's dumb on Bo. Now I think it's dumb on Heath.
Oh, Barry Windham first had it in 87.
Oh, okay.
Then Larry Zbyszko won it at Bunkhouse Stampede, which I want to buy the name of that pay-per-view. I want to put that in the new F Wrestling.
Okay.
And the title was retired. When Zbyszko left for the AWA.
Yeah, it's weird they're still wearing Social Outcast gear.
The belt is currently held by Dr. Chad J. Terry through purchase in Detroit, Michigan. Well, I want to see if we can Skype Dr. Terry in, man.
Okay.
And so we can see the Western States Heritage title. What?
Why don't the former Social Outcasts get new ring gear?
Because they're a bunch of cheap bastards.
Well, I mean, in Heath Slater's defense, he was working without a contract, so he probably couldn't afford it.
Yeah, he had to feed his kids and get an above-ground pool.
Yeah, a very nice above-ground pool.
Yeah, I don't know why people don't do that. Like, I would think, like, me as a fashionista, I would definitely, like, every week I'd have something new. I'd have something new on every week.
I guess expensive because you'll have to pay for it all.
That's a good point. I know, but as a matter of pride, like if you're coming out, you're like, oh, I was part of this faction. To remain relevant,
I agree. I agree with that.
Change your shit?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I was just referencing you getting new ring gear every week.
Oh, I know. That's absolutely ridiculous. But I'm just saying, like, getting it, once you're done with the Social Outcast, Bo, you should probably change it up.
Yeah.
They said, hey, Bo, this is Vincent right here. I'm Bo Rotunda.
At least rip the Outcast logo from the front of your
Take it off, man.
tights.
I know you know people.
Gary Doyle.
Yeah.
What's happening, friendos?
Oh, I'm from Australia. What?
I've recently become a patron, and I'm curious to know what are your thoughts on the wrestling scene in his home country. Just wondering if you were familiar with Aussie wrestling from back in the WCW days in the 70s, run by Jim Barnett, or anything happening nowadays.
I'm not, but it all sounds amazing.
Yeah.
WCW in the 1970s in Australia.
It was a different organization than the WCW that we watched.
Some guy named Jim Barnett. That's such an old school name. I love everything about it. I imagine lots of big hosses bleeding.
Well, did you click the link?
Stumbling about.
He sent?
No, I haven't, but I'm looking forward to it after the show.
I kind of went through the list of alumni briefly.
Oh, amazing. Probably
and there's
amazing.
a lot of guys that wrestled in NWA and WWF.
Oh, I love it. I love every bit of it.
That wrestled for
That sounds amazing.
WCW. So we'll look into it some more.
I love it all. I'm looking into it now. Continue, though. I can do both.
Dave Lendowski.
Yeah.
Hey, friendos. Just stumbled upon your YouTube channel. You guys rock. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My question is this. I live in Palm Springs, and there will be a SmackDown Live house show on Monday the 3rd. However, there will also be a Raw event in Los Angeles the same night, about 2 hours away. Given the same option, which one would you guys go to?
There's so many red Wikipedia names here, guys without entries. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I would be inclined to stay close to home and go to the SmackDown show.
Palm Springs live.
If it was a choice between going to a Raw televised event and going into a house show, I would go to the televised event. But if it's house show versus house show, I would stick with the SmackDown house show.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Because AJ Styles might be there.
Dude, I'm telling you this. Listen, even if Raw was being televised or vice versa, whichever one was being televised, go to the house show.
You think so?
Those they are attended by like a couple hundred people. I've seen a couple pictures.
Oh yeah.
They are so sparsely attended. That's got to be it. It has to be so easy to get down there and sneak a peek close up.
Yeah.
Or you can go up there and say, hey, how much for a really close seat?
Yeah.
And to me, a live event, even in the lower, a TV show, a TV taping, even in the lower bowl, does not beat anything. Like the closer you are, the better your experience is going to be. Don't care what the event is. The closer you are, the better it is. If you can get hella close, then do it. Oh my God, do it. Let's say, what was it? It's Monday the 3rd. So he lives in Palm Springs. SmackDown Live.
It will be a Raw. It's
a Raw event
Raw in LA,
in Los Angeles, about 2 hours away. Stick to the one in Palm Springs. There's going to be less people there, and it's SmackDown, so you might get to see AJ Styles. SmackDown.
Yeah, and then just DVR, Raw, watch it after the house show.
Yep.
James Stratford. Hey, lads. It's me, the British guy, back after an injury had me out for a few weeks.
Oh, man. James, what kind of injury kept you away from your computer?
Uh-oh.
That's crazy.
Anyway, do you think we could possibly see The Miz in the WWE title hunt later this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely think that.
Ramus452. Is that how you say it? Ramis?
No, Ramus. Okay. Right. It's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Hey, friendos.
Hello. Hi.
With Bret Bitterheart almost in all interviews saying Seth is dangerous in the ring, comparing him with Goldberg, how do you think Bret's career would have been if he didn't need it to end after his concussions? Okay. And if he would have been as much bitter as he is now?
Sometimes you can just paraphrase these questions.
I know. I should read them beforehand, and then I would be able to. I'm reading them for the first time.
So the question is, how do you think Bret's career would have ended had Goldberg not ended it for him? And would he have been as bitter? I think he probably wouldn't have been as bitter.
But he still would have been bitter.
He's seen,
No, I think
his brother died.
The root of his bitterness is the Montreal screw job.
Yeah. But then a lot of nasty shit happened after that, I mean, if him going to WCW seemed to have taken a toll on him in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, I always give props to who was the dude who was before Ringo Starr?
Pete Best.
Pete Best. I always give props to that guy because I guess he was bitter for a very long time, but he was able to let go of it and lead a productive life.
Yeah.
And then he started making music like much later on in his career. Yeah. And actually, I listened. I was like, some of this is pretty good. Like some of this stuff is pretty good.
It's just called the Pete Best Band, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And I actually listened to some. I was like, you know what? I'm trying not to be a mark, but this is pretty good stuff. Like you don't expect it to be, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Bret Hart, sort of the same manner. Like I feel like he went to WCW and felt like his family, his best friends, that element that he built, basically helped build, just took off, and he was with the lumps.
Yep.
He was with the losers over in WCW. I always got the impression that ate away at him.
Yeah. Oh,
you know? And so I think that and the screw job, the way he went out.
Yeah.
Looking so horrible. And then on top of that, understanding that the success of the WWF was really piggybacked on that Montreal Screwjob. I consider the Montreal Screwjob the beginning of the Attitude Era.
Yes.
Because it saw the birth of Big Man. It saw the end of Bret Hart, who was sort of very typical of the new generation of WWF. And then, Michaels got to kick everything up to 11 with DX.
Yep.
I mean, they had already done it, but they were kicking shit up to 11. Stone Cold was huge. So I think he probably still would have been bitter. I just don't know if we would have seen him be as bitter as we maybe see him now.
Yeah.
How he would have ended his career, I don't know. I mean, he
might have wrestled for another.
He might have wrestled for another 5-10 years.
Yeah, I'd say about 7 years.
In which case, we're looking at not too long ago. He would have been calling it a day.
No, maybe about a decade ago.
You know?
Yeah.
Shit, Jesus. Yeah, I'm thinking 97. Fuck, that was 20 years ago.
I know.
I was thinking it was 10 years ago for
Nope.
half a second. Yeah.
Last question. Nicholas Viola.
Viola.
Hey, friendos, new patron and the current DDT Iron Man heavy metalweight champion here.
You guys are all over the map with this stuff.
Who do you think will be the first person to win the Cruiserweight Championship who wasn't in this year's Cruiserweight Classic?
Good question.
A current roster guy like Neville, an NXT guy like Hideo Itami, or someone who isn't in WWE yet, like Ricochet?
I'm going to go with that third one. I think that, and it's funny because Meltzer, Dave Meltzer, Wrestling Observer, does a lot of great Q&As on Twitter. And sometimes he gets a lot of shit from people for his, I don't know why. But anyways, he was saying that he doesn't think it makes sense for any current roster guys to cross lines into the CWC. He says, I don't know about, he says, because somebody brought up Neville, and he said it doesn't make much sense to him because it exists in its own sort of universe. And what he says, I'm going to go with. That being said, I think that it's a guy that maybe we're seeing in New Japan, Lucha Underground, or Ring of Honor right now that they're going to bring in. I think it's somebody that we haven't seen yet in the WWE that would be the first guy to win the championship that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, potentially. I know Ricochet, the terms of his Lucha Underground contract, will keep him off TV, I think, till sometime next year.
Yeah. Because
he can't show up on other promotions, televised product, until this current season of Lucha Underground has finished airing. So, I mean, I don't know if the timing works out, but maybe he could participate in next year's tournament. Yeah. Which would be great because he's awesome.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. That'd be really good.
So,
Will Ospreay. I mean, I know a lot of those guys are just sort of, a lot of those guys, I think they're just smart businessmen right now. They're building up such a huge name for themselves, so they make bigger money when they come.
Well, Ricochet said in an interview that he wanted to win the IGWP juniors heavyweight title before he thought about going to WWE.
Yep.
All right, that does it.
Anyways, that's it for the Dirt Sheet. Good episode today.
Yeah, it felt good.
Questions, gave away a shirt. Or we didn't give away a shirt. We're offering up a shirt. Fan art. Son of Power Lunch, get it done. We're going to decide. One guy already did it without even us asking.
Yeah.
That was Luke Garvey. That's right, Luke Garvey. So the gauntlet's been thrown down, guys.
And we'll also have more Power Lunch stuff coming up this weekend.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to have more WWE 2K17 content on our channel, youtube.com/Stephen Larson. Be sure to check it out. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.